the stream.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it is I am him, the one and only Steel Rain. And you are now locked in, tuned in into the most outrageous morning show, the Living Split Screen podcast, where we keep it live, raw, uncut, authentic, organic, and kick it into your weekend with gaming news, topics, and just illustrious details that only me and Pong can bring you. Look, I got one of the most uncanny gentlemen that you can find across any neighborhood, any street, across any community. The guy that is filled with knowledge. It is just a treat to be around, man. Look, my brother from another, man. One of the greats, the guy who puts the soul in Pong. Pong's soul. What's going on, brother?
You know what? I just felt some incredible rain hit me, right? and you're setting expectations. The most outrageous, did you say, show?
Yeah, it's outrageous, man. We're outrageous.
Man, you're setting us up, man. You're setting us up.
Hey, we got to. We're taking it to that next level, man. I'm tired of downplaying
it. Hey, look, Steel, there ain't nothing better than hearing my hype man, Steel Rain, get on the mic on a Saturday morning and say what he's going to say, just like you did, because, man, if I'm not awake already, you definitely wake me up, and I know you're waking up the chat.
Oh, yeah.
Look, episode 13, welcome everybody to Living Split Screen. Gamers across the world, we just had our Christmas.
Yes.
My hype level is still through the roof from all the content that we saw, all the new games, man. You know what? Not every Brave brought their A game, okay? And in fact, there was a lot of people that probably didn't even need to show up to E3 this year, but they still showed up, okay? Thanks. So that's fine. But what we did get out of this is a whole lot of new and exciting looks into the future. Yeah. And for me, that's what I wanted to see. And especially, again, we've talked about it, Steel, but you know what? Xbox brought it. Xbox has been in training. I said this on Boom Show the other day. Mm-hmm. They've been training for the heavyweight title fight. Okay? Oh, yeah. We know they've been in training for years, right? They showed up. They showed up in shape and ready to show us exactly what they've been working on. And Nintendo came. They're in the lightweight division, the middleweight division, but they showed up too. And they gave their fans something to be excited about. Not everything. Nintendo's never going to give their fans everything.
Nintendo.
Right?
We'll definitely talk about that for sure.
That's right. And then we had some smaller showcases.
I didn't have my
Revolver. They always show up. They're ready, right? They know what they are. They know what they do, and they showed up again this year.
They're on my mic.
Future Game Show showed us some good stuff too.
I could tell right away on my voice. I'm like, oh shoot, I forgot to send up my filter.
E3, if you just look at it as a whole,
still sounds good. It still sounds good.
You might give it an average or below average grade, but if you dig deep, you look at what was shown and you just look at the games for what they are, it was a really, really great show. And there is some exciting times ahead for all of us. So again, chat, it is amazing to see you all already.
I'm hearing
It has been a great week. I'm back to my Wolfman look.
I can hear me over the stream.
But I haven't had time to stop. Steel. We've been talking so much. We've been on shows. Man, it's been crazy. But I'm glad to be here today, and I can't wait to get down to it. So, Steel, why don't you kick us off? Tell us a little bit about what you've been doing, what you've been playing, if anything, and we'll go from there.
Well, other than the Twitch porn that's been going on,
oh, we're gonna go there,
which we'll definitely talk about later on in the show. But
I know you're into the horse head.
Hey man, pigeon head, horse head, dino head, whatever it takes, right? But we'll definitely talk about that because there's some concerns as far as how I feel about it, and how it's overall impacting the community as us as gamers. So we always got to get the personal topics out there. But other than that, man, just to kind of touch on what you were saying with E3, we definitely want to discuss a little bit of that. I guess we'll probably lead off with that after we talk about our upcoming games, because this week we do have some upcoming. But we'll definitely touch into that. Maybe we're probably more than likely give you a quick breakdown. Maybe again go through the individual shows, give us our 2, maybe 3 stunners or whatever the case might might be. Everybody's been talking about it throughout the week, but it has been interesting to see what everybody's stunners again were. So that's gonna be dope. But as far as me, man, I haven't had much time to really game, but the time that I have had to sit down, game, and really get some time in has been in some Guilty Gear Strive on PC, man. Look,
jealous. I'm jealous.
If y'all are a fan of Guilty Gear, if you're a fan of Ark's work and just what they bring to the table, the net code is incredible. Being able to get online, pick a character, take your character a little serious, maybe hop in the dojo, get some training in or whatever the case might be, just so that you have an overall understanding of what your character can do on some simple side. You can still hop into some rank play. And the great thing about the rank play, right, man, is, and it's one of the greatest things that I've noticed about this fighting game, it puts you in this rank system that is completely dependent on your level of skill. So after every match that you have, right? Man, I can't tell you how great this is. After every match that you have, it kind of grades you, right? It tells you what you're good at, what you need to work on, whatever. Okay. But based on your winning or losing, it'll put you in it'll set you up in a tower, right? And each tower, I believe it goes up to like 10 or whatever the case might be. It may go higher than that. I hadn't really paid attention. I'm on like floor 5 or 6 in between there, just because I haven't been too serious about it or whatever. But what it is, essentially is, every level that you move up in this tower is completely based off of how you do. So if you go in, you start losing or whatever the case might be, it'll move you down a level. And it'll continuously move up or down depending on how you do. What it's trying to do is, and what I've noticed, because it's done it pretty well so far, is that if you're doing really well, you can't go into the lower brackets. It'll lock the lower brackets off. You have no access to them, just so you can't beat up on easy people, right? But what it'll also do is that it always gives you the opportunity to go to whatever floor you want to above whatever current floor you're on. So it's kind of gives you that space to, if you want some more skilled players to fight against, you get that. And you also get more experience for fighting those players. So you have a level-based system. You have a level system also in place where people can see how much time you've pretty much invested in the game. It's kind of one of those where, you know, how you get into some of these rank-based game types or whatever the case, and they give you a level or whatever, and a lot of the times the level's not. It doesn't determine how good you are as a player. It's not based off your KD or whatever. It's just like an experience bar. It's kind of like that. So you kind of get an idea of how long people have been playing or whatever the case might be. So it's dope, man. But I've been going hard with Ram Lethal, or Ram Lethal, as some people may call it. Valentine, she is my girl. I love her. The double great swords that she has that are floating with the little monsters that eat her hat after every match is just so amazing to me. Again, when I get into these fighting games, man, I like to pick my 1 or 2 characters that I really love and I really enjoy, really want to play with, and then I'll just, take it from there. I've never been overly serious about fighting games, but this one, Guilty Gear Strive, has definitely brought those roots back for me and has me heavily invested. Now, with that being said, I've also been wanting to get into some Biomutant. I don't care what anybody says. I keep hearing people downplay this damn game, but I'm kind of glad that I haven't had the exact opportunity to jump back into it fully, because I'm over like 10 hours, almost maybe around 15 hours in now, and they keep dropping updates. And of course they are, right? I mean, you got to tweak things, you got to move down the road and adjust things as you go. And I just think that is amazing, because now when I jump back into it, me still being kind of early in the game, and I've heard from Ainsley, shout out to Portia Power from the Big Cast and everything. I'll be live with them this afternoon, right after this show, actually. So stay tuned for that.
Look at that. You hiding secrets.
Hey, check this out.
Okay.
Check this out.
I see that.
Check this out. No. And then Pong will be live on the Dragons Den tonight also. But anyway, But so you get a lot of split screen action today. But anyway, I'm kind of glad that I haven't been able to fully delve in, because these updates keep coming out and they're adjusting to the game. So that's been great. And I'm the kind of player, man, once I play a single player story or a solo player experience one time, that's it. I'm not jumping back in. I'm not doing New Game Plus. The only games that have ever got me to do that have had co-op experiences within them. For example, like Dark Souls, Gears of War, Halo, those kinds of experiences have always gave me an opportunity, or kind of a want to jump back in. But other than that, man, that's me. That's been my week. Other than work and everything else, it's been was a wild E3 week to start off everything. Been kind of crazy at work or whatever the case, but that's about it. Before we get into the upcoming games, man, Pong, have you been able to get some game time, man? What you been gaming on, man?
Yeah, man, I definitely have. Not as much as I wanted to. We got a really busy week too. We keep talking about this every week, but it just seems like life's getting busy again and getting back to normal, and
Right.
so my game time has decreased from where it was last year for sure. But I was able to hop back into Biomutant as well, just to kind of piggyback off of what you were just talking about, Steel. These updates aren't just regular updates. I want to say that too. It really seems like the developers listening to community feedback, and they're really trying to adjust the game based upon that feedback and give people kind of what they wanted. And I think that's always a good thing. Yeah. Developers nowadays, I mean, fixes, patches, they're always going to be a part of games. Unfortunately, we've gotten to that point, or fortunately, because games that are broken can be fixed versus back in the day when they could not, and we just had to live with them. But there's some developers who seem to listen to the community and put a priority on some of those quality of life features and stuff that people have been asking for. And this dev, 101 or Experiment 101, they really have done that with each one of these patches. But Biomutant is a fantastic game. Give it a try. I know not every game's for everybody, so I never speak for everyone.
Right.
But don't listen. Well, yeah, exactly. But just don't listen to the hate out there. Those people are trying to speak for everybody too. Listen, I would say try it and see if you enjoy it and get through the first hour or two where the game really opens up, and then judge it for what it is.
Only if you have interest, though.
Correct. Only if you have interest. But again, if it is something that you've been on the fence about, I would definitely dive in. If I would tell somebody who's on the fence, wondering if they should or not, I would say do it, because I think you're going to find something enjoyable there. And it is a great experience. And the more I get into it, the more beautiful the world becomes, and I love it a lot. So I have been able to do that. Played some more Phantasy Star Online 2. I know one of your faves. I'm really liking it. Let's put it that way. They have definitely updated and upgraded almost everything in the game. Is it still a little janky? Yes. I think Phantasy Star Online will always be kind of janky, but at the end of the day, if you are a Phantasy Star Online fan, or if you're looking for a new MMO to try, this is one to hop into. I'm getting used to the new kind of, I don't want to say controls, because the controls are kind of similar, but there are some new mechanics. There are some new mechanics, and some of the things like the auto aim kind of feel a little bit different than the other one.
Right.
But once I've gotten used to it, it is really a cool MMO, and I'm enjoying it. So I hopped into that, and then ID at Xbox, they dropped 40 demos this week.
Yes, they did.
After the show. So I've hopped into some of those, man. I'm a big player. I like to play a lot of different games. I don't finish a lot of games because of it, but that's not me. I just like to experience different worlds. So I'm going to try a little bit of everything. So I've tried Sable. Real quick on Sable.
Talk about the highlights. Yeah, facts.
Oh man, yeah. Sable. It's got some hiccups to it. It's definitely an indie title. I'm gonna say performance-wise, you'll notice a couple things here and there, but overall, the experience is the best way to describe it is if I had to give a game, if I had to use a game to define Sublime, I would call Sable Sublime. Just from the simplistic graphics, which are just gorgeous, to just the music is so fitting to everything that you're doing in the game. It's just a relaxing, chill game to sit down and play.
Okay.
There is some, just traveling across this desert world. Looking at all the different colors, the color palette is absolutely incredible. A lot of pastels, but they use them in really cool ways, depending on what area you're in. But just traveling on your speeder, and I call it a speeder because it's speeder bike. It's kind of what it is. It's just it's so cool. It's just so cool. So I took a bunch of screenshots. I'll probably be posting them on Twitter sometime this weekend. Absolutely love Sublime. I also hopped into Tunic. Tunic is going to be a game that grabs a whole lot of people. I don't know if it's necessarily going to be a game that grabs me. I enjoyed the demo, but it is definitely, if you've been listening to other people out there, it is definitely a Souls-like Zelda. Okay, so if that piques your interest, go try this demo. Fantastic demo. Really well done. You can tell the developer, I forget him off the top of my head. It's an independent, he's a single developer. This is another one of those single guy projects. Single guy projects. But man, this game is polished. Feels really good. The combat is spot on. You do have to learn the different enemies, and you have to learn their patterns in order to get through.
Show dice.
There you go. Thank you very much, Steel. I appreciate that, man. But you can tell this guy's been working on it for an extremely long time and has put all the effort into it. Really good game. So if you like, if Souls like Zelda piques your interest, go try out Tunic. I gotta look. I tried a bunch of different ones. What else did I try? Oh, Echo Generation. Echo Generation's been showed a few times. It's got that tourist style graphics, that kind of pixel block look to it. Anybody who's played the Tourist before, awesome indie game, by the way. But Echo Generation, it's kind of like a Stranger Days kind of RPG with kids, and you gotta go collect comic books and stuff, and a nice short demo. Finished it in probably like 20 minutes, 25-minute demo. But really gave you a good idea of what the game's about. Really fun. The writing is very good. There's no voice acting in it. It's all script. But at the same time, it piqued my interest. There's a lot of cool things. The battles are fun. They're turn-based battle system. But go check out Echo Generation. Got a really good vibe to it. I really recommend go trying that one. And then I hopped into, and I can't talk a whole lot about it, but it's coming out this weekend, and we're going to talk about this in the upcoming games for the week. But I did get a chance to try out Dark Alliance. Coming out this week on Game Pass. That's the new Dungeons and Dragons Dark Alliance, based upon a world that I am extremely familiar with. The characters in there, Drizzt, Catti-brie, Wolfgar, and Brunar, the dwarf, I am very familiar with. I've read a lot of the books. So for me, it's a little bit more special. But we'll talk a little bit more in the upcoming games this week. But it's coming to Game Pass, co-op multiplayer loot system, kind of like Dark Vermintide. Warhammer.
You get to see your loot that you get. You get when you equip it and everything else. It makes it awesome.
Yes,
that has me interested. I like the look. I gotta have my aesthetic. If you're gonna give me some looks, if you're gonna give me some loot, I need some aesthetics.
No, it definitely gives you aesthetics. So,
awesome.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, no, we'll talk a little bit more about that. But another co-op multiplayer coming to Game Pass. So I've been playing that. I think that's about it. Of course, get my NBA 2K21 on in every once in a while.
Be consistent, man. I tell you.
Still doing that. Still rocking that out. Building up my team. Even though I'm never gonna play online, I just like playing against the computer and
playing with Dealer. Man. Shout out to Dealer Gaming.
Yeah, I do have to hit him up. It's been a while, so he did mention that when I snuck in the back door on RDX earlier this week. So I gotta hit him up and play a little co-op there. But yeah, no, that's been pretty much my week. Just tasting a little bit here and there of things, but man, look, Steel, we got so many games coming. It's not even funny. And they just added to the buffet this week. So, we should probably dive into what's coming up this week.
We definitely will, man. You definitely, you never surprise me week by week when you come in here with the things that you've been touching on. Again, that's what makes you amazing. You like to touch on different things. And then, I consider myself to kind of be the reins, because as y'all see, I got some origami playing in the background. Saw the hype for some origami too, right? And me and Paul jumped in and got into the first origami. It actually has crossplay, what's crazy. And what's also very crazy is that it worked first try. No problems, no issues. It was like we were just in a match and it worked.
No, tell me the even crazier part.
What was the even crazier part? There was no lag. There was no issues.
We just found each other.
Oh yeah, because the way it's set up, you can't send invites, whatever the case might be. Maybe if you could, if you're on the same console, but as far as like the crossplay goes, like one person has to host a match and then the other player has to go in and search for the room, I guess. And it was like as soon as he hit search, he was already in my room, and we were sitting there. I was asking him like, "Yo, I think there's somebody random in my room." He was like, "Oh well, I got this PC player in my room," and I was like, "Oh, that's probably you then."
It was awesome. Yeah, Origami awesome. Guys, go check it out. Definitely. You guys remember Tenchu back in the day, style ninja? If you like that sneaking around and using the shadows, this game's got some magic to it where you get powers and you can upgrade. It's got some skill trees to it where you can upgrade. But man, as a co-op game,
it's dope.
It is dope. So yeah.
So definitely looking to hop in there at some point. Hopefully this weekend we can get in there, maybe wrap that up, finish it up, see how that story unfolds. Because I'm kind of wary about the princess chick, man. I don't know what's going on, but she has me questioning.
She has me questioning. Something wrong with her. She ain't normal. Her words are indicating.
Yeah, that she might be the one that's actually locked up. She might be the powerful being. But anyway, that's on another note, man. Excellent, always excellent to hear from what you got to say. Again, well, we'll definitely hop into some more about E3 and everything. Our last final thoughts, as you know from the title. But with that being said, as Pong has stated, we're going to roll into your upcoming games that are coming up through today, which is June 19th. All the way up to June 26th. So definitely stay tuned for that. We definitely got a hit coming out next week that I know me and Pong are both very excited to jump into. I don't believe it's a co-op experience. I believe it's only single player where you got a team and everything. But we'll talk about that when we get to it a little bit. Other than that, man, I'm gonna go ahead and switch screens because I know I still got to set this page up when I get to it. And get us rocking and rolling, Pong. If you want to go ahead and talk a little bit, get us locked in and loaded, man, while I pull this up. Go ahead.
All right, here we go. So we got through E3 week. So we had a little bit of a lull in the games launching, but this week is definitely picking up. Yes. So it's good to see this, and man, from here on out for the rest of the year, it's going to get crazy. So, All right, let's start off. All right, so let's start off the game with what I was just talking about, which is Dark Alliance. This is a co-op multiplayer. It is a third-person view. And like I said, you do get loot. It's based upon Dungeons & Dragons, a subsection of that, Forgotten Realms. And again, the main characters in this are Drizzt. Drizzt, people pronounce it different ways. Duerden, he is a dark elf. And then you've got Catti-brie. And so Drizzt is your kind of like, he's your melee character. There's
that. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, but unfortunately, everything else that we had lined up for you all is not going to be able to be presented. Unfortunately. Don't know what that's about. It is what it is. I don't know, man. I'm out of the zone. Rock and roll. So.
Rock and roll, brother. All right. Hey, man. No big deal. No big deal. We'll just we'll power through this. Everything will be fine. So let's rock and roll. Hey, chat. Thanks for sticking it out with us. Sorry about this. Obviously, things out of our control. This is what happens when you go live. This is what you deal with. So it is what it is, but we appreciate every single one of you for sticking around. Steel's frustrated, but you know what? That's okay. These things happen, and there's nothing we could do about it. So again, where we left off was just kind of talking about, we had just started talking about our final thoughts on E3. And we were going to kind of play off of each other back and forth about what we saw, about some of our highlights, lowlights, whatever it may be. So again, welcome back to Living Split Screen, episode 13. So E3, again, some of the highlights, I guess for me, what I was talking about when we figured out that nobody could see us was that E3 overall, I got to say, some people might have found it to be average, maybe below average, and I totally understand why that is. I get it. If you just looked at the shows, there was more meh than there was really good stuff, right? So, but I think if you deep dive those shows, you're gonna find a bunch of really, really exciting things in there. And what I mean by that is that the content that we are starting to see, we saw a bunch of original IPs coming. We saw some really creative things at work behind the scenes. And where that's coming from is that we're just starting to see the tip of the iceberg, some of the first ripples of what happened last year, especially in the growth in the industry. Right now, there are more people, more talent, more companies, more money in this industry than at any time in history. And those ripples are going to continue to expand out. We're going to be seeing them 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, even 5 years out from now. And again, E3 this year was just a start, a little taste of what we are going to come to expect. Going into what Steel has talked about, I have talked about, many people, Mav, Fun Speculation, aka shout out to you, brother. I see you in the chat. Have been saying the golden age of gaming is upon us, and there's a reason why we believe that that this is a golden age, is because when you get this much movement and you get this much momentum in an industry, you're going to see a lot of fantastic things happen. And this E3, again, gave us a little glimpse into what's coming. Obviously Xbox showed out. Obviously they came to play. They were the heavyweights, right? They've been preparing for this time. And even though a lot of stuff got pushed, a lot of that stuff that we were supposed to see last year got pushed into this year. Then you got other, teams that have continued to work through, the pandemic and have gotten to the point where they're ready to start showing things. So now you kind of got a backlog of things all kind of coming together. On top of the stuff that's still being pushed out, we understand that there's still going to be some games that are pushed out further into next year and the years beyond. But right now, we're starting to see that come to fruition, where a lot of these things that we were supposed to see last year, we're now seeing a lot of stuff that still is going to make this year and make the deadlines. We're starting to see that as well. So Xbox showed out because they had a lot of that stuff ready. And Nintendo obviously, again, as a lightweight, middleweight kind of contender at this point, they're giving their fans a little piece of what they wanted, with a 2D Metroid. Not everybody wanted that. A lot of people wanted the Metroid Prime 4, which was announced years and years ago. But you know what? They're getting Dread. Dread was announced freaking, I think it was like something like crazy, like 15 years ago, 19 years ago, Dread was announced and never showed up. And now they're finally getting a 2D version of that. So a lot of people are excited about that. Again, as we touched on, Devolver Digital came to play this year as well, showed off a lot of great indie titles, a lot of great smaller stuff. Ubisoft showed up. We're getting Extraction, which does pique my interest because it looks like they took what they've learned from Rainbow Six, Siege, and they're putting it into a what looks to be kind of a fun, interesting multiplayer, right? Co-op multiplayer. So, and I just think overall E3 this year, if you look at it as a whole, maybe underwhelmed, but if you take the individual pieces that were there, I think we got a lot. And again, I think no matter what, at the end of the day, you're going to find there was something for everybody at this E3. Which is pretty cool. Again, we have a bigger gamer base than ever before in the industry. 3 billion people estimated worldwide between mobile and everything else. And so what we're seeing is this diversity grow with the games and the type of content that we're receiving. So anybody jumping into gaming right now is going to be able to look through, no matter where they're playing, and find something for them, find something that interests them. And then, obviously with Game Pass being Microsoft's vehicle, their platform right now, that's expanding the market even more, because now the barriers to entry into this industry get lower and lower and lower every year. So I think overall E3 for me just showed a tip of what, the tip of the iceberg of what we've got coming to us during this generation, at least. Again, with all of this, happening, and with all these people and all this money and all this time and resources being put in, we're going to see leaps ahead. We're going to see things innovate. We're going to see a lot greater emphasis put onto what's next in the future. And that pushes the industry even further. So we might see some leaps that we never expected to see come to pass this time around, just because so many people are focused on making this industry even bigger than it already is. And that's a good thing for us gamers. Gamers are winning. E3 was a showcase that showed that gamers are winning, and it is a great time to be here right now. So I guess that's my starting point for E3. Steele, what do you got? What do you think overall?
For me overall, E3 was solid, man. The experience overall was one of those things. Every E3, I never go into it expecting the moon and the stars and everything. I always go into it with level expectations. Just excited as a gamer for the overall experience in itself. Ever since I was young, I was always interested in what E3 was about. Being able to get those interviews through IGN, getting those papers with Game Informer, whatever the case might be, and many other magazines that would cover it, or maybe even getting up those bootleg, DVDs or whatever the case, to see different people's experiences with E3 and these different type of games events has always excited me. So with this E3, just because of all the smoke that's been handed out over the years, honestly, if it wasn't for Microsoft this time around, fortunately or unfortunately for some, they saved it. Microsoft put E3 in its backpack and carried it and kept it on a very high mantle, along with, you could say, Nintendo, and along with some of Ubisoft, because I saw a lot of companies seem to have some solid momentum, have some solid, as I should say, pacing within their shows. And that's what's been missing with a lot of what we get in the gaming space nowadays. We get these unpaced shows, people that try to be easy to relate to, and they're not, right? So to see the proper representation this time around with E3 and everything was an exciting thing to see. Just to kind of, again, to go through my notes a little bit, Rainbow Six Extraction was dope from Ubisoft. Riders Republic and the Valhalla continuing to get updates were definitely some key points that I took away from Ubisoft. Moving into Devolver, the main thing that I took from Devolver was Death's Door. It looks extremely interesting to me to see another roguelite style of game, soul style of game, give you that adverse combat and everything. It looks extremely dope. You're like a little crow, that representing death or whatever. You are death, and you're going through these levels and everything. I like what they were presenting there. Gearbox, again, was another one for me. The biggest thing is the fact that they're able to play that line of being corny but also being funny to the point where it works for them. Like, undoubtedly, like I can't say that it was corny or whatever the case might be, because it worked. It made me laugh. It made me chuckle. It brought out what I feel is like the lightheartedness of what gaming is about, and they represented that very well. Let's not take ourselves seriously. We know what we bring to this and everything. So that had me excited. It was funny. It was a hoot, whatever you want to call it. I thoroughly enjoyed what Devolver brought to the scene. Gearbox is when we found out that Godfall was not built from the ground up per se for the PS5. It's also coming out for the PlayStation 4. So look out for that if you still have that PlayStation 4. So we found us some truths that we maybe weren't planning to find out, unfortunately, and it is what it is. It just seems like things in the background, as far as Sony is going, are a little more deeper rooted than they're coming across. Again, that's a whole different conversation that we can have. And then the main thing that Gearbox attracted me with was Homeworld. It's an expansive space RTS. Again, that's one RTS that if it comes back, real-time strategy game, that if it came back, I probably would jump into, just because it was one of the, I'm not going to say it was one of the first that I jumped into, but it was one of the ones that definitely had me spend hundreds, if not thousands of hours in. So again, if seeing that and the whole Homeworld 3 coming back, or Homeworld 3 being made, sounds really dope. I didn't like the fact that they talked about it several times over and over again. Again, just kind of displayed that they didn't have a lot to show otherwise, so it is what it is. Moving forward, I believe we'll go into Xbox. Xbox was, again, like I said at the beginning of my little spiel, if Xbox wasn't there, E3 would have probably been pretty dead. Honestly, from seeing my highlights from Xbox, again, like I had always announced, I was looking forward to see what Halo Infinite was going to bring. And this is something that I want to bring up because I had a little argument, a little dispute with somebody yesterday, because they were saying that what we saw from Halo was CGI, and I had to tell him no, it wasn't. It was not CGI, and then he tried to prove me wrong or whatever the case might be. I was like, look, man, you can say whatever you want to say, but what we were shown was in-game engine gameplay. They're using that single camera angle, the same thing that they use like they did in God of War 2018. They're doing the same thing in Halo Infinite as far as the campaign goes. So what you saw in that trailer is how the game is going to look. And that got me excited. Seeing
it's a huge compliment to 343 when people
yes.
are saying that it was CGI. That's a huge compliment.
And it's crazy. And it's crazy to me that y'all don't understand that y'all are actually paying. Like y'all gave 343 all this flack and all this smoke and everything, and now you're saying that their trailer that they showed you that is in-game engine gameplay assets that is based off their single camera angle that they're using, again, kind of based off of, if you want a big example of that, God of War 2018 is a huge boon to 343 and what they're doing. They raised that mantle up. They evoked, again, always the reason I'm gonna bring Halo back up into this whole E3 conversation, because Halo has evoked emotion within me that now every time, especially with this trailer that he had with Cortana 2.0 or whatever you want to call it, could be Cortana's sister, could be an AI based off a previous version of Cortana that could be on. There's a whole other slew of information out there that we could dive into. That I don't want to go dive too far, but seeing the amount of emotion that was invoked in that scene has, especially following that up with the multiplayer and everything that we've seen out of that, and how enthralling it was to me personally, again, brings back those Halo 2, 3 vibes, brings back that old Bungie vibe. Again, I don't want to get it like, mix it up with, they're trying to be Bungie now. No, I think 343 has finally found where they needed to be at. There could be so many factors that roll into that. Again, like I keep saying, they didn't have over 1,000 people working on this for nothing. There was obviously, Microsoft understood how important Halo was, and 343 understood how important it was to get this right. And to see them finally present something that the masses, because it's not just a circle or whatever the case might be, the masses are now paying attention to Halo again, is exciting. You see devs from 343 coming out and saying on Twitter and whatnot, is saying, hey, we're ecstatic. It's brought us such good energy to see that what we brought to you guys during E3 has reinvigorated the hype for Halo. So now the energy is up for them. This is what they needed to make sure that they got that, they can work towards release and put out a excellent product. Again, a lot of people are still on the fence of whether it might be delayed or if it's going to get pushed back. Again, with this energy that we have now put forth, I feel like they're now on the right path. Whether it gets released in September to get that early release in, or it gets released in December at the latest to get the late release in, I feel like Halo is coming out this year. But overall, Halo has invoked in emotions within me that now every time that I hear Halo or it's talked about or whatever the case, it makes me feel some kind of way personally. Kind of like, you see that hot girl or whatever, and she gives you butterflies before you go up to talk to her. It's kind of one of those things. I haven't felt that from Halo since Halo 4 for me personally. I know many other people say, I haven't felt that since 2 or 3. I haven't felt that way since Chief had that scene with Cortana when Cortana was telling him goodbye, essentially. That evoked that same emotion out of me. this trailer has done that same, has brought all those feelings back, gave me all the memories, gave me the thousands of hours that I've spent within the world, the thousands of hours that I've spent playing competitively. I'm super excited for Halo. Cannot wait for it to be to release. I'm in the insider program. I'm ready for it to drop. I'm not about to cry 108, even though during that trailer, I'm not going front to y'all. It did bring a little tear to my eye. Like I said on the Xbox Ultimate, it definitely brought a tear to my eye. I'm excited. I am ecstatic because people try to underestimate what Halo means, and that, in the world that we're in now, Halo doesn't have space. They're proving you wrong again and again and again. People have tried to give Halo flack for years, and again is proven to you why it's one of the number one first-person shooters out there in existence that is on one single platform. So other than that, Forza Horizon, again, as a simulation racing fan, so extremely surprised me, mainly because, not because I wasn't expecting for Playground Games to put this out, but because, again, we were at that whole Moore's Law thing, right? Where everybody was like, oh, we reached the top of graphics. We can't go any further. Things can't get any better. It's all about the feelings in games. And I agree with that. It is about the feeling in games now. We want to be able to feel our games, get the full experience out of our games. But having to look at that trailer and questioning whether this is an image that was taken and expecting for some person to walk on the screen, to then see cars roll into the scene, slide into the scene, was insane to me. Playground Games is not playing. That Forza Tech engine is not a joke. And I have high expectations for what they're going to be able to do with Fable, because they're doing this with the current existing Forza Tech engine, not their new engine. They're doing it with the current Forza Tech engine towards the end of the current generation of consoles. 6 months, not even a year into the console release. Like, y'all have to understand that this game is going to be coming out just a little after a year, if not going into a year of these next gen consoles releasing. That is insane for us to be getting the type of quality that we're getting already, from what we can tell. We'll see what they actually change within the game, whether it's they make it a little deeper. Again, I've had my own little gripes with Forza, whatever the case might be, as far as like the in-between races, because I like to do my ranked multiplayer gameplay, get my multiplayer game in there. But other than that, those were the like the steal the show moments for me. I have had some other ones, but me and Palm both talked about that in our last episode where we broke down everything that happened during E3. So definitely check that out after this show when y'all get a chance. And after that, I believe it was Square Enix. Guardians of the Galaxy looked dope. Again, I feel like that's the way that it needed to go. Single player experience, story-based experience. I feel like that's probably what they should have done, similarly to Avengers, just to make sure, because the story in Avengers was great. I liked it. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought it was a solid experience. It's just the multiplayer that falls off, the end game that falls off, the lack of customization and viability and giving you a reason to grind for whatever that you're trying to get at the end of the game wasn't there. Babylon Fall seemed rough and needs to go back in the oven. Final Fantasy, I'm interested in it though, just to put that out there. The combat looked like it was interesting, but it needs to go back in the oven. Using the excuse that, I'm not going to say it's an excuse because I'm not a dev, excuse me, but saying that, the art style, we tried to go for an oil paint sketch kind of art style. No, you tried to go for something that's not working. Put it back in the oven, give it some more work, let it bake on 400 degrees for another however long you need it, and bring it back out later. Final Fantasy Origin, or Lost in Paradise, quote unquote, if that's what you want to call it. I don't know what that game wants to be yet. That game looks like it has a Devil May Cry art style.
It wants to be back on 360 and PS3 is what it wants to be. It wants to be back where it belongs.
Yes, it definitely does. That's the way it comes across. It has Devil May Cry. It has Devil May Cry art style. It has Dark Souls gameplay, but it's still trying to be Final Fantasy. And then you have this guy that comes onto the scene talking about chaos. Like. What are y'all doing? Like when I think of Final Fantasy, I'm thinking the in-depth magical world that is Final Fantasy. What intrigues me about Final Fantasy, not what you guys presented. I hopefully they're not close to being done, because that game also needs to go back in the oven, put it on 400 degrees and let it bake for however many months it needs to be baked for. Other than that, to kind of wrap it up with Nintendo and everything, I don't personally care about Nintendo. I do have a Switch in the house. My girls play on it all the time. But to see not Skyward Sword, but to see Breath of the Wild 2 come out, I did watch the trailer for that. I personally couldn't tell the difference between the first game and the second game. I thought it looked like DLC for the first game when I first saw it. I was like, oh, we're getting some more DLC for Breath of the Wild. Oh, awesome. But it is what it is. Obviously, that game is still far off. I'm surprised that it didn't release a Switch Pro, Switch Plus Pro, whatever the case you want to call it. But I'm also not surprised. Again, with the chip shortages and everything else that is going on, I feel like with the type of quality assurance Q&A that Nintendo does, they may not be ready to yet present something to the world or to their community or to their consumers, just because they want to make sure that when they put it out, that it's has access. Because already, as you see, you can't just walk into a store to get a Switch now, you know what I mean? So why would they release a whole nother console with everything that's going on and it be questionable whether it's going to sell? Because you release that Switch Pro, Switch Plus Pro, whatever you want to call it, Switch Ultimate, with that Breath of the Wild 2, like they did with the first Breath of the Wild, where they were released for Wii U and the Switch. They're going to make killer sales again. That's what Nintendo loves to do. They want to make sure that they get those sales from it. So with that being said, that's my E3 wrap up on my end. Again, Microsoft saved it for me. If it wouldn't have been for them, I feel like we would have been having a completely different conversation right now. The pacing was excellent as far as Ubisoft, Microsoft, and Devolver goes. Those three hit it out of the park for me. I'm okay. I'm not gonna say that I'm upset, but I'm disappointed that Sony doesn't feel enough importance in their consumers to want to show up at E3 anymore. Or now we're hearing that they're not going to Gamescom, XCOM, or any of these other events. You know what I mean? They're gonna do their own thing. And it just kind of turns me off as someone who's interested, but just hasn't had a reason yet to invest into that ecosystem. And that's upsetting to me. The fact that Sony does not take their consumers seriously, but those same consumers have been brooding for competition.
Breeding
Not
competition?
They've been breeding competition too, but they've been brooding for competition, crying about competition. Microsoft has finally presented that to everyone, not just to us, because I've never lost faith in what Microsoft and Xbox has been able to do, but they're taking gaming seriously, and now Sony isn't on that same front. Do they have to be there? I don't think so per se. They don't need to, but it would be nice to give your consumers something to look forward to, because now those same consumers are in these Xbox shows or Nintendo shows or these other different shows looking for titles to say also on PlayStation at the end of the trailer or whatever, to have something to talk about. It's all about building that excitement, right? And that also brings up the whole Nintendo thing, where they didn't want their consumers or their people, the people that represent them, to stream their conference. Like, what? Like, how anti-consumer is that? You wanted to me, they wanted to inflate their numbers so that they look good to their stockholders or whoever the case might be. Oh, look at how many people are paying attention to us or whatever the case. And I can tell you right now, if all the people that represented y'all were able to stream it themselves, y'all wouldn't have got those views that y'all got. And that's exactly why you did it. But it is what it is. We know how Nintendo gives it up and gets down. Other than that, man, that's my E3 wrap up. So.
And shout out to Twitch for standing up to Nintendo and saying, hey, if you're not going to let our streamers stream, we ain't streaming your stuff. So, that was a big move by Twitch to do that. Not a lot of companies stand up to Nintendo when it comes to that stuff. At the end of the day, is it going to change Nintendo? Probably not. Nintendo's going to do what Nintendo does. Again, that's how they are. They will always want to control their narrative. They always want to be the boss of everything that they have, and they're not willing to even say, hey, look, we're in 2021. Streaming is an important part. We'd love to have our friends or our fans celebrate with us by doing a stream and by getting excited along with us live on air. They're not willing to look that way. But again, shout out to Twitch for at least putting out that tweet an hour before the show or whatever it was and saying, hey, look, Twitch gaming isn't going to be streaming this either, even though we have permission to, because we don't feel it's right. So again, big shout out to Twitch, for being one of the ones to stand up. So I think you did a great job, Steele, uncovering all the basis there with the main stuff that came out of E3. Again, I would recommend to anybody who has not had a chance to deep dive some of this stuff yet, make sure you watch it in 4K, but do not pass up the Future Game Show. It was a little long, but there was some really cool stuff. It came after the PC show, which is worthless, in my opinion. Okay. But so a lot of people missed it. But I know, Steele, you and we got to watch it when we did our crossover with Xbox Ultimate, and we were watching it, and there was some good stuff in there that is coming to console as well. So I recommend everybody go back and watch the Future Game Show and check it out. Otherwise, I'll make a few quick mentions here. Some of the individual titles that really stood out for me. Again, you hit on all the major stuff and major points that I probably would have gone with as well. Stalker 2. Again, people, go watch that in 4K right now after the show. Okay, go watch Stalker 2 in 4K if you have not had the pleasure of doing that. That is going to be probably, I'll probably say this. It's probably the first game that fully takes advantage of next gen outside of Flight Sim. But Stalker 2 on another level, being that it is a first person, shooter adventure. Mm-hmm. Go check out Stalker 2. What that dev team did from GSC World Games is something special. And I think as we get closer to launch, they were supposed to launch this year. They pushed it till April. That means even more polish. That team is talented, and I really do hope Phil and his team are looking at possible acquisition of those guys, because I think that is somebody on the rise. That team was out of that whole studio was out of business back in the day, and that's when half the team split off and formed 4A Games, which created Metro, and then the original what do I want to say? The original guy, the other half of the original team, kept talking to each other, tried to form new studios, tried to get Stalker back up and running. It failed a couple different times. They finally did get it. And they finally came out with it at this point. It's been, God, what has it been? It's been almost 15 years, I think, since the original Stalker, maybe even longer than that at this point.
I think it's been a while,
It's been a while. They stuck with it and they stuck by it. And to have them come out and show out on the biggest stage on Xbox's showcase with how they did with Stalker 2 was mind-blowing. And that is a AAA game through and through, even though they call it an independent, an indie title. That is a AAA. That could stand toe-to-toe with any AAA nowadays. So go check out Stalker 2, replaced as an indie game that came out of the blue. Nobody looking for it. Shows up on Xbox's stage and looks like Last Night, the Last Night, which everybody's been waiting for, which has been in development for years and years and years by Tim Soret, I think his name is, and his team. But everybody thought that's what it was, and it wasn't. It was called Replaced. That 8-bit 2D side-scroller style just looks ridiculously good, and it was the talk of social media afterwards. There was a lot of people talking about how great that game looks, and they're looking forward to it. And then, Atomic Heart, another surprise at the Xbox show. Atomic Heart has been in development for years and years and years and years, dropped off the radar. Only if you were really looking for it did you find some stuff on it. It started popping up a few months ago again, and all of a sudden it shows up on the Xbox E3 stage. And guess what? It's going to be Game Pass day and date. And again, crazy original IP. It's got a mixture of games by the looks of it. It looks like BioShock mixed with a million other games. But something interesting, a new world to explore. And again, in Game Pass, there's no risk when it comes to that. And that's what I was talking about. There's so much creativity going on right now. Those are some of my standouts. Also from Devolver, Trek to Yomi. Go check out Trek to Yomi. This is a 2D game in the vein of like Inside or Limbo, but based on a samurai world. Go check out Trek to Yomi. Incredible looking graphics, the backgrounds, and then they switch to almost a 3D view for some scenes. Just stunning stuff. So go check out Trek to Yomi. Definitely something that should be on people's radar. Other than that, Avatar did look good from Ubisoft and from Massive. Again, I'll have to wait and see because they're going to a first person view versus their standard third person that we've seen them do with like the Division. So it's going to be interesting to see how that team pulls this off. But I am an Avatar fan. I will freely admit that. I am interested in the world, so I'm gonna keep my eye on that one and see where it goes. I'm not quite sold yet, but it did look beautiful. The Snowdrop engine is absolutely outstanding for visuals. So I really hope they pull this one off. I am a big fan of Massive. And I want to see them do with them well. And of course, we know they're working on the Star Wars game too. So they got some big projects in the works. But yeah, I think, again, yes, did Xbox carry E3? Absolutely, Steel. I can't deny that. I just think that if you dig a little bit deeper, you will find some really cool stuff that we can look forward to down the road, and sometimes even the very near future. And so I think that's exciting. One last mention, I gotta say, I think Battlefield shut up a lot of the naysayers out there who were talking about the $70 price point. I know there's still a lot of people that disagree with it. I personally can't agree with the $70 price point. I understand the dissent there and why people are upset. And I understand about the single player campaign being removed, also upsetting people. I do get it, but I got to give props to DICE and all the other teams working on that game, because what they showed on last Sunday was, oh my God, wow, we're back. Battlefield it's going to be only in Battlefield time all over again. And I think that they did a great job of proving a lot of people wrong. The maps look gigantic. The crazy chaos that is constantly happening in now back in a modern day setting, with helicopters, tanks, you name it, and then be able to switch out your attachments on the fly. All the little improvements plus the graphics just looked outstanding. So I think they did a great job. So shout out to them. I'm looking forward to some Battlefield on top of course, Halo. Again, as a casual Halo fan, I was still in awe of what they showed. And that's a good sign. And I saw a lot of people who weren't into Halo praising it, which is a good sign. That means that they're hitting the right notes now after last year. So again, 343, Joseph Staten, Bonnie Ross, again, has been under a lot of heat, but Joseph Staten seems to have stabilized that team, and they are back on track and going to make Halo once again the pillar that it always has been. But now they're going to bring it back to life, to its full glory. Let's put it that way. By the looks of it, again, nothing set in stone. We don't know. We haven't seen the game, but just from what they showed us, they're headed in the right direction. So shout out to the Halo team for sure. And then of course, Forza Horizon 5. Playground is on its way to being, if not already there, as one of the best developers out there. If they pull off Fable, and they, again, Forza Horizon 5 turns out to be everything that it looks like it's going to be, you're talking about a studio now that is diverse in what they can create. They were known as a racing studio because of Forza Horizon. If they can bust out of that mold and they can also produce a Fable on the level from a technical standpoint, from a creative standpoint, and they can build a world in Fable that appeases the Fable fans and creates this great RPG that we know and come to love. Wow, you got one gigantic asset in Playground, because that means they now have two different genres that they are producing at the top of the game, right? And that is huge for anything. They become Xbox's Insomniac at that point, right? They become that studio that you can count on for putting out multiple different styles of games that are award winners, that are critically acclaimed, and that is an asset to your company. I think that Ninja Theory, again, has the potential to take over the Naughty Dog role for Xbox, meaning a studio that takes longer to develop a single title, but when you get that title, it's a game of the year contender. And if what we are seeing again through the extended showcase on Thursday, which was awesome, go back and watch the extended showcase for Xbox. If they can produce those types of visuals that we're seeing there, and there was some in-game assets for people who believe that whole trailer or that whole kind of glimpse into what they've been working on was just, behind the scenes stuff and nothing really in there. If you go back and watch it, there's definitely some in-game stuff, assets from from Unreal Engine 5 in there. If they can pull this off with that, and they can make this game bigger than it even was, and give us that third person action adventure that a lot of people have been clamoring for, they're going to be on the map as the next Naughty Dog. So that is something that I look forward to as well. But just a great showing. Again, Xbox did carry all of E3, but there's a lot of good stuff. Be excited. It is the golden age of gaming, and gamers are in for a treat this gen, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, the extended showcase was bomb. Again, Microsoft showing you how it should be done. Hit us with the games one show, and then the next show, give us a couple shows a couple days later in between, and give us the breakdowns of everything. At least you can't bore people to death. Those who are actually interested in it from whatever they've seen during the showcase can tune in for that, and it could be what it is. Also, shout out to Paris Lilly for hosting that event. He did a fantastic job. Again, I'm all about the representation for us as gamers, getting that proper representation, because we don't get it enough. People that are excited, passionate, and bring the energy that is required to represent the gaming community. And he did it very well. So I definitely want to give big ups to him. Much love, praises.
Absolutely, 100%.
And it was excellent. With that being said, because I got about an hour before I'm gonna be on the Bitcast myself. Shout out to Ainsley and them. So especially with all the technical issues that we've had today, it's kind of put us behind. But other than that, it's all good. But I definitely wanted to touch on real quick, since I was talking a little bit about Sony and them being absent from E3. We're coming to find out what that July 8th. Quote unquote is again the rumor time that they're planning to have their showcase, whatever the case might be. And to be completely honest, other than seeing titles like God of War, maybe some Gran Turismo, maybe even Horizon, I don't see much else coming out of that. Again, we definitely need Sony to show us what the roadmap is for them. I know that's something that people have always said in the past. Oh, Sony always shows us what we're gonna get down the road, and we have a roadmap when these games are gonna come out. I really need to see what's coming out down the road, because again, like I keep saying, they don't have me personally invested yet. There hasn't been a title to personally have me invested yet. God of War will not do that for me. Ratchet & Clank will not do that for me. Last of Us could, but it needs the multiplayer, because it by itself will not do it for me. Again, I do have this mindset, for better or for worse, depending on how you want to take it, how you want to look at it. I don't, like a lot of people say, oh, multiplayer games aren't worth X amount of money. I don't feel single player story games are worth that amount of money either. I have never been the one to sit here and invest in single player only games. I have now, since I'm a little older, also have more access. Xbox has also opened it up to where I can go back and play games that I hadn't had a chance to touch before. Services like EA Pro on PC has allowed me to go back and touch on Mass Effect, the Legendary Edition. I did not have to pay any money for that other than my subscription fee for that. Having all these different access points that I did not have before makes it very different. But I've always been of the mind if your single player game doesn't have some sort of multiplayer game or a multiplayer side of it attached to it, I'm not trying to invest into it. I can care less. I'm not that invested. You have to be doing something extremely different. For example, like the game Forspoken. Forspoken is a title that I would definitely get a PS5 for, but we're also seeing that it's coming to PC also. And there's nothing wrong with that. Again, everybody kind of rides on Xbox about their whole, oh, well, you got Game Pass and it's a rental service and this and the other thing. Would you be mad that if Sony did the same thing? I don't understand that. I don't understand that at all. I would actually be willing to and wanting to see them actually come out July 8th, if that's when they're going to do it, quote unquote, and say, hey, this is our plan down the road. This is what we're working on. We want to compete. We want to give you something that the competition maybe is not offering you. And right now they're not doing much of that. That's what I want to see. I want to see you do something else than streaming your old games or whatever the case might be. I want to have full access to all of the titles. I don't want to just stream those titles. I want to have access to all those titles, be able to download them to a hard drive or whatever the case might be, so that I can really build up a backlog or whatever the case for that side. I do feel Sony doing the Game Pass like service would not. I don't consider it being exactly like Xbox, because again, they put out two different types of content. They always have, and that's what makes Sony great, because they understand that, and they have the potential to put out excellent games. But you have to give more consumers a reason to invest and have a better retention rate than you do right now. And that's what Xbox and Nintendo have over you, is that their retention rate is out the roof. When people invest in Xbox, even over the last decade, if you go look back, people stay within the Xbox ecosystem. The services are unmatched. The multiplayer gaming is unmatched. The variety and titles have been unmatched. It's just those top of the line products and first party titles that we have been missing on that side, that Sony has always been able to deliver you guys. But again, for someone like myself who doesn't personally per se care about those types of things, unless you gave me a service, give me access to them, at a whatever low cost, whatever the case might be, just you have to give me a reason to want to invest, and I haven't seen that yet. And hopefully they come out with that show, with their showcase or whatever, show their wares, actually give people a external storage solution, actually give people a reason to want to stay invested within the Sony ecosystem, because that's kind of the problem that I'm starting to see now. And I know people are going to be hard-headed all they want to be, and there's nothing wrong with having multiple platforms either, right? But you have to give people a reason to stay invested, other than you just paying $70 for games. Because obviously we're seeing, just to throw that, because people say value or whatever the case might be, you can't say Microsoft giving you 30 games, 27 of them being in Game Pass. At average, let's just say for shits and giggles, those games are $30 a game, knowing that they won't be. Shout out to Fort Board Gamer for doing some of the math on this. 27 games at $30 a pop over 2 years is over $800. Where over that same 2 years, those 27 games that are coming to Game Pass, you're paying less than $300 for your Game Pass subscription. So who's really getting the value? And that's what's changing the minds of your typical gamer. Those are the conversations that we need to be having. And stop, this whole rental thing needs to get out of people's heads. It's way deeper than that, man. But other than that, that's just my thoughts on the whole Sony PlayStation experience, as they're calling it, or whatever the case might be. I just hope that they bring something to the table that can get the hype back started and really, keep this competition moving. Because that's what it's about, right? We can't move gaming forward if there isn't competition. So
yeah, and just to piggyback off of you, Steele, because you made some great points in there as well. If you're going to read the tea leaves, and again, I know a lot of people out there don't like, whatever reason, they can't take a step back and look at everything. But there's small signs right now that Sony is actually being forced to listen a little bit. We just had the article come out about Jim Ryan doing another interview with Axios, in which he talked about crossplay, and that they want to do more crossplay now. And what was just a hot topic past couple weeks was, or past, month or whatever it was, ever since we got the news from the Apple v Epic court case that Sony was charging developers or publishers, I should say, for crossplay features because they wanted a piece of the pie, and they've been resistant to that, right? And forever, Sony got away with that forever. Everybody knew that was out there. Everybody knew Microsoft was the one that was pushing. Phil and his team were pushing for the crossplay features, and Sony was the one that was resistant to it the entire time. And they never had to answer for it. Right, but all of a sudden you got Jim. All of a sudden everybody in the community is talking about it. It's out there. It's in the public eye because of those court documents. And all of a sudden Jim Ryan's doing interviews talking about how he wants to support crossplay, and Sony's all about crossplay now. Right now, whether that means they're going to stop charging people, who knows? But what I'm saying is this is a topic that they would have ignored previously and have ignored previously and just got away with it. But now they're making a response. Right. Another thing that came up in the community. Again, Phil Spencer has always congratulated teams that are a competition on great successful launches. And he congratulated Insomniac on their successful Ratchet and Clank launch. And that was very public. He did it on Twitter, and everybody was like, hey, this is great. Another, again, we've seen him do it plenty of times, but everybody stood up and took notice and said, look, Phil continues, even though this is competition, even though this is big business, even though, Sony's done some questionable things in the past and stifles certain things like crossplay. Phil's still out here congratulating the competition and saying, hey, good job, guys. Great to see it, because it's about the industry growing, as you were just talking about, moving forward, Steel. And Phil's out here congratulating. Everybody's like, wouldn't that be nice if Sony would ever show up on social media and do stuff like this? Oh, guess what? Herman Hulst coming out, right? Herman Hulst all of a sudden shows back up on Twitter and says, congratulations, Xbox. Yeah. Congratulations to a great show, right? These are little signs. Again, they might not be big, neon signs pointing, hey, Sony's listening, but they're little signs that if you've been studying the industry, if you watch the industry from afar, you understand that all of a sudden, Sony might be feeling Xbox on their tail a little bit here, right? All of a sudden that 120, $140 million or 140 console generation doesn't seem to hold as much water as it once did, because guess what? Every generation it starts over fresh. Starts over from scratch. And now Game Pass is taking the lead. Game Pass, Microsoft, Xbox, they're starting to change the rules of the game. Whereas Sony was the last gen, because they let Xbox stumble out of the gate. They changed their whole plans of the PS4 because they saw the reaction to Xbox, right? And so they took the lead. Now all of a sudden Sony's starting to feel some of that pressure again. All of a sudden they decide to start listening to what people are saying. And that's a good thing. Like you said, Steele, that means the competition's working. That means they got to better themselves. That means they got to do better in the long run for their consumers and us as gamers. Because again, I want to jump back into the PlayStation ecosystem. I do love the PlayStation ecosystem. Again, my main platform last gen up and through 2018 was the PlayStation 4 for a reason. Right? You got to get that back again. They lost their edge because they were sitting back counting the money. They weren't progressing forward, and now they're behind. And now they got to figure out their space, how they're going to carve their space out in this digital age, with Game Pass taking what could eventually become an insurmountable lead, just because of the simple fact that Microsoft, I say Microsoft as the corporation, has more of the funds and more of all the infrastructure needed to put something like that together than anybody else does right now. And Sony knows that. And Sony's got to figure out how they're going to place themselves and find that whatever they can carve out. Like you said, Steele, I'd love for them to do something. They're not going to be able to do a 1-for-1, but I'd love for them to do something. They do have other assets. They do have their movies. They do have their music that they can bundle. Would set themselves a little bit apart, but I don't think they're going to do day and date on their big titles. I don't think they can afford it, but they got to do something, and they got to find what that is going to be. So again, just little signs that Sony is starting to realize that they can't just sit back and coast through this generation. They're going to have to figure it out fast.
Right.
So
exactly. Again, excellent points, man. I mean, It's just, again, we can't say that we want competition and we want gaming to grow and then complain when it starts to happen. Again, you can't sit out here and complain and say, oh, monopoly, when you don't understand how expansive the actual gaming industry is. If anything, Tencent could be probably closer to monopoly than Microsoft is right now, with as much as they got grouped in to their single house, right? You know what I mean? It's like that clown
Embracer
car.
Groups,
Embracer Group, another one
closer to a monopoly than Microsoft.
Exactly. Microsoft is trying to make sure that they keep the consoles relevant. You know what I mean? I feel like that's been one of their main plays. I know that people try to say, "Oh, Microsoft is trying to do everything in the cloud and all that's all important." It's like, no, Microsoft. I mean, Phil has said that the hardware is also important to them. And anyway, you know what I mean? Because you have to have a basis. They're going to replace those server blades with new consoles, making the experience better for the end user in the long run. That's the plan. You know, the faster they can get these Series X's produced and to the masses, the quicker they can put them in their own server blades so that they can start stepping other things up on their back end. That's what it's about, man. So, with that being said, just to shout out some people in the chat for still being here, locked in and loaded. Me working a little bit through, working through the frustration and everything, with everything that we've dealt with today.
You're doing great, man.
Look, man, shout out to Matt Barnes, 108, Geezer Prime, K Mega's in the house. I seen him just join in. Potion Sword Run, Six Slayer. Who else we got in here? We got Dreadpool is in here. Rain in the Third Eye. Always good to see you. Chris Jones. Back in it. New Type Gunpla. Tempest, what's going on, my guy? Chase Jones, what's going on? Who else we got in here? We got Muppet in here. Muppet's always a good face to see in here. Boogeyman was in here. He said he was full from his breakfast. Got a little breakfast in. That's awesome to hear, man. ATL. Who else we got? Anybody else is in here that I might have not mentioned? I know I've seen Smitty in here earlier. Smitty Smith, shout out. I think I saw Joe Dunmore in here earlier. Shout out to him. If you're in here, man, just say what's up in the chat. Let us know that you're still locked and loaded. We're gonna try to move through this so that I don't end up I don't end up late.
We gotta get you out of here, brother. We gotta get you out of here.
But no biggie, because this next topic is something that I do want to talk about, because I feel like it's an issue again for us as gamers, and not only us as gamers, but also again for the women, for the women gamers, you know what I mean? And that's the whole Twitch debacle that we got going on right now. Twitch, I made a comment at the beginning of the stream saying Twitch is kind of turning into like a porn site or whatever the case might be, soft porn if we want to call it. Nobody's doing anything for real, but they're doing these ASMR videos and putting horse heads on and pigeon heads on and making these weird noises in the mic and bikinis and bent over and just doing things that I don't personally think should be on Twitch, which is supposed to be our gaming platform, where people have access to watch other gamers and get an aspect.
And it's technically 13 plus, right?
Yes, it's technically 13 plus, I believe. I just do not think that Twitch is the platform to be doing a lot of this crazy shit on. And the fact that it's not, I know that we can say that sex sells all it wants to. That's great. I mean, the biggest reason we have the internet is because of porn. So it is what it is on that aspect. But there's also places for this. I saw a lady making this video saying, look, man, y'all do what y'all do. Y'all looking good doing it, but there's other places that y'all could be doing this. Y'all got OnlyFans, you got all these other porn websites that you could be going on, and you're doing it on our gaming platform where we're trying to, give people and show people the light on what gaming actually is. There's too many people who still to this day see gamers as corny, see gamers as childish, see gamers that we can't be taken serious. But we all know, those who are heavily invested in the gaming, know that gaming has saved lives. Gaming has helped out people that have had health issues, whether it been motor skills or so many other things, mental issues or whatever the case might be, along with being an escape for those who are having a hard time with anxiety or just on their day-to-day lives, right? Giving people an escape to get to and have fun with. And more, as we constantly talk here, people are constantly showing the misrepresentation for what we are as gamers, and it's become more and more sad by the day. The fact that this has been allowed is just absurd to me. Now, at the end of the day, it kind of is what it is, but at the same point, when is enough enough? What needs to happen so that we can start to cater our content for our people, right? Again, I think it's extremely weird. I think it's strange. It just seems like people are getting away or taking advantage of a space, and taking eyes away from a space that it shouldn't be. But at the same time, I can't just blame them, because you got these horny dudes or guys who just can't get pussy, apparently. I don't know what it is, who pay attention to this type of shit. And just to see it more and more happening within our gaming universe, is turned again, adding that extra stigma that we do not need. Gaming is the #1 entertainment business throughout the world, and the only entertainment business that still gets looked at as childish and is a waste of time, when we all know that those aren't the cases. I wanted to get your input on that. It's just something that kind of rung home with me, because it bothered me a little bit, man. Because again, we started living split screen because we wanted to give people proper representation of what gamers are. You know, not being console centric, not talking about specific things if we can help it, and just overall keeping it about the games and what gamers are really about, right? Whether it be you with a variety of games that you like to touch on, or me where I try to go a little more hardcore, you know what I mean, and giving you that competitive multiplayer side of it, or whatever the case. Which I also know that you're interested. No, you're not a casual.
Call me a casual.
You're definitely not casual. You're way too invested. You're way too invested. And I'm not going to be one of these guys that be like, oh, you don't finish games, so you're a nobody. You know what I mean? Like, the conversation is deeper than that for me. Like, you have to actually understand people before you just start talking about them, right? Instead of having these misconceived prenomers or whatever case. But how do you feel about our gaming platforms kind of being taken advantage of, and not only that, but continuously getting this negative light shown on it? Are you into this Twitch porn, man? What's going on?
I'm sorry, I was watching a girl with a horse head on.
Horse head in a hot tub.
Yeah. No. Look. This is why the slippery slope argument is valid. People like to cancel the people's discussions by saying you can't use the slippery slope, that it's not a valid point to make, but it is. We talked about this before. Anytime you open something up to an idea, human nature is going to be to take it a step further.
Yeah.
And so you have to be very picky and choosy when it comes to, especially like a platform like Twitch or YouTube or anywhere else, as to what is going to be acceptable on that platform. Again, I'm a huge freedom of speech guy. I'm all about it. If people want to sell themselves, more power to you. I don't care, right? That's none of my business what you do.
Exactly.
None of my
business.
That's not the point. Okay. That's not the point. That's not the point. The point being is Twitch was specifically set up for a sole purpose. Now, our business is allowed to expand their original ideas. Absolutely. Of course they are. But when you allow something that should, again, believe that I'm correct, that Twitch is considered 13 plus. When you allow stuff like this to enter your space, you are now talking about changing fundamentally what you created that space for.
Right.
And once you allow hot tubs, once you allow bikinis, once you allow a certain level of skin to be shown,
yes,
okay, people are going to take the next step. Now, you always have to be on the lookout
for what's coming down the road. Everybody has seen ASMR grow, right?
Yes.
Then it turned from ASMR into live ASMR, where you weren't just getting the sound, but then you were getting the visuals as well, right? And so this is what people are going to do. They're going to take it to the next level. They're going to look at all of your rules, and they're going to bend those rules and walk into the gray area as much as possible, because it's human nature. And you wind up with this kind of stuff on your platform, which is unacceptable based upon what you started this as. If you want to say, look, Twitch started out as a gaming streaming service, guess what? We are now not a gaming streaming service. We are now expanding out. Great, fine. So do it.
Yeah.
Fine. We're gonna promote this stuff. That's fine. That's
YouTube
cool with
now.
me. Right. We're YouTube now. But guess what? Now we're going to make it 18 plus.
Yeah.
Cool. Fine. You want to change that whole business model, but no. Twitch is trying to eat their cake at the same time. They know where the money makers come from, and they're unwilling to stop this because it is making them a ton of money. I have a problem with it. I think it should be in a totally separate space. I think Twitch needs to create a whole separate channel, right? Whatever you want to call it. I don't care what it's called.
Right.
Twitch After Dark. I don't care
whatever.
what you call it, but it needs to be separated from this, because like you said, Steel, it is now interfering with what Twitch is mainly used for. It is now causing people like this girl. I also watched the video. I forget her name.
Yeah, I can't
she went on a nice rant. It was most people were very supportive of the rant, because she stated clearly, I'm not downing the women who want to do this. I'm not downing the people who want to do this. They're making their money. Go get your money. Go get your money. This is not the point. But there is a huge portion of Twitch that is there to do gaming stuff, to stream video games, to talk about video games, to engage with the community that way. And you have this kind of oily, greasy kind of area that is now bleeding into everybody else's content. And that takes away from the content creators who made your platform in the first place what it is, who are now sullying them with this content. Because now, like you said, Steel, there are so many people out there who still look at the game industry in a certain light. Now, we've broken through a lot of barriers. We've got a lot of more barriers to break through. I get it. But now when people go, oh, well, Twitch streaming, yeah, I've heard about that. They do a lot of gaming. I'm going to go check out this gaming, streaming site. I'm going to go watch some people, and I want to see what this is about. And the first thing that they see
is girls in bikinis.
Girls in bikinis in hot tubs.
Oh, God.
Or you see a girl with a horse head on doing some crazy
headbutting the mic. Like
with ASL. Okay.
Oh my God, dog.
Do you think that person is going to actually take the time to go look at the issues and go find out what this is all about? No, they've already made up their mind what Twitch is. They've already made up their mind that gamers are freaking out of their minds, that they're still childish, that they're still immature, that this is still what the majority are like.
Hey, and that we all like tentacle porn.
Right. We're all in our parents' basements, right? We're all, again, out of shape. Just that's all we do is sit in front of our TV or our PCs all day.
Yeah.
This is all we do. We have no life, and we have to turn to a Twitch to get our rocks off, right? That's what is instantly thought of when somebody goes and sees this garbage. And so you got, as Twitch being one of the main platforms out there, as one of the leaders in the industry when it comes to streaming, they've got to make the decision, the responsible decision to say, hey, understand, we're going to move all of this stuff to a totally separate location. Everybody else gets to stay here. You guys made us what we are, but we are going to have the separate channel. You're going to have to go over there to see this stuff. We're no longer going to promote this here. That's what they need to do. I'm totally in agreement with you, Steel. It is a big, gigantic issue. Yes, sex sells. It always will.
Right.
It's really hard, Steel. This is a hard conversation to have because, again, and I don't want to stereotype genders, but obviously we know because it happens everywhere. Again, men to a lesser degree as well. women especially, but we all know as being males that we are visual human beings, and that we do, this is, again, there's always going to be that immature side to us when it comes to this stuff. And as a society, because of the way that America has treated this stuff, we're always going to have that in us, and sex will always sell.
Right.
And you see that with the OnlyFans now. You see that with the porn industry that continues to still just be gigantic, crazy gigantic. It's always going to be there, and it's hard to have these conversations because you have all of this promotion of that stuff, even from, you know, females. They consider it empowering to you know, do this stuff. To, if you want to do OnlyFans, hey, more power to you. They consider that, but then we have this stuff show up, and then it's, oh, why are guys like this, right? Why are guys? Well, okay, we've got two messages going on here, right? So that's a hard conversation. But again, since we're solely focused on Twitch, yes, I think it's awful for the industry as a whole. I think Twitch needs to make the responsible decision to move it, either remove it completely and say, hey, we're just going back to straight gaming, which I know they won't do because, again, it's a moneymaker. Fine, it's business. Move it. Move it off of it and stop it.
Well, at the bare minimum, at least, if you're going to allow it, take it off the main page. That's the thing. That's the main thing about it. When you go to the website, it's what's on the main page. Like,
it's promoted.
Yeah, it's promoted. Like, at least hide it or something. Like, I understand you making money off of getting the streams and people clicking on the site and everything else and people getting involved, but it's like, dude, that's not what this platform was created for. You know what I mean? You have YouTube for that, and even YouTube doesn't allow that. YouTube will not allow you to get on there damn near butt ass naked and in a bikini or whatever and stream games typically. Now, can you find yourself in that gray area? Yeah, it happens. It is what it is. You can't prevent everything, but most of the time your YouTube is curated towards whatever you tend to look up. So if that's what you're looking up, then of course you're going to find it. I mean, shit. But if that's not what you're looking up, it's not like it's displayed on the main page of YouTube so that you can see it. You know what I mean? At least from what I have seen. Now, I could be ignorant in that fact, but who knows? I just feel like it was something that bothered me, that kind of hit home with me, because we're constantly seeing it, man. Again, that's
still. We didn't even talk about the new sensation of farting into the mic.
That's my goodness gracious. And then you got other people farting into the mic and calling it ASMR, bro. Like, why? Why is this on Twitch? Like, why do people? You're subbing to this. You're liking it. You're getting it traction. You're putting, like, I need y'all to really close your eyes and listen to me. Can you imagine someone putting a horse head on, some kind of figurative head on, and headbutting a microphone and making weird noises? Can you imagine that? Is that just something that you would just like happen, like in your wildest imagination? Is that just something that you would just like, yeah, I can see that on Twitch. That's amazing. No, man, like, what are we doing? And the fact that it's not being curated is a problem to me. Like, look, again, like we said, I don't care. I don't care how you getting your money. I don't care. I understand that sex sells. It is what it is. Whether you're a guy or a female, if you're attractive, people are going to look. It is what it is. But as a gaming platform, as I consider Twitch, at least curate it or something. It does not need to be on the main page. Hide it away. Again, you have so many people that access these sites. This isn't YouTube, where I can see that on YouTube. People like to do weird shit on YouTube all the time. But like on your gaming platform, something that is baked into your hardware, that you can literally pull up and look up any game that you ever want to check out or check out gameplay for, whatever the case might be. It's just weird to me, man. I don't know. Maybe it's me. There's weird people everywhere. It is what it is. I felt passionate about it, so I wanted to bring some attention to it. Because again,
big brother,
I'm all about, we created this platform at Living Split Screen to be about the gamers, because we're passionate about gaming, right? And to kind of give, or not even kind of, but to give better representation of what gamers are. Not all this corny console war BS, all this constant bickering that people do within each other and unable to have conversations. Me and Pong continuously get on here 2 hours plus and give you guys content because we're passionate about this. You know what I mean? Because we care. I mean, like, the whole reason I'm frustrated about the entire stream today is because I care about it. You know what I mean? It's like not only that I feel like I letting myself down or whatever the case might be, it's like I'm letting the people down that are paying attention because I know y'all enjoying or whatever. I mean, yeah, things happen, but it's like when you're passionate about something, you're going to display that passion. You're going to show that passion, and you're going to want to make sure that the people understand what you stand for, not all this other BS that constantly is going on throughout the world. You know what I mean? We have so many other big problems that we should be dealing with other than us arguing and gaming. Unless we could have, you know, and there's nothing wrong with having disagreements. And you're not going to agree on everything. Humans can't agree on one single thing ever. You know what I mean? But it's a different thing when you can have a conversation and say, hey, you know, you may not agree, but let's agree to disagree. And I feel like that's something that's important. So with that being said, look, we're getting towards the end of the show.
We got to get you out of here, brother. We got to get you out of here.
We're getting towards the end of the show. Through everything, again, I appreciate everybody for being here. Much love. The show, it hasn't been the smoothest as possible. Hopefully on the replay, it ends up being a little smoother, coming across a little better. So for those who are watching it on the replay, I appreciate you for sticking it out and hearing all the craziness, whatever the case might be. But we're here. We're coming at you live, raw, and uncut. As I usually say, it fits into the it fits into the whole momentum of what we're doing. You know what I mean? Giving you that authenticity, giving you that organic nature, and overall giving you the representation that I feel that only me and Pong can bring you. With that being said, let's get into this day in gaming segment, or as Pong likes to call it, make me feel old.
You do every single freaking time, man. Let's go.
Hey,
I haven't had my daily dose yet. Let's do this.
Have your daily dose of feeling old. Look, again, as I always explain, the whole point of this segment is to bring light to games from the past. To invoke those emotions, those memories that people may not remember. Again, we may talk about a game that sparked memories with your kids, or that you just might remember from your childhood that gets sparked right back up. Or even if not, maybe you're a newer gamer and you're born in the 2000s or whatever the case might be. And you may not know some of these games and you want to go back and maybe check out some gameplay and see where we have come from, because I feel like that's important. We forget where we have come from as gamers a lot of the time, and to be able to treat gaming as art as it should be treated is something that's extremely important. Again, I always shout out to the homie Everborn Saga, who has been a main proponent of making sure that is understood within the people, that gaming is art and should be treated as such. So with that being said, I'm going to swap over to full screen LSS and let's see if I can get this to come up. Nah, I don't need the chat. I don't need the chat to come up, Lord. But let's see if I can get it to come up here in a second. Giving me some issues right here at the moment. Bye, Al. There it goes. Excellent. So here we go. This day in gaming, June 19th. We're going back, like I said before, we go within the 30 years of gaming and kind of just help you reminisce on some things and show you what you might have missed within these last few decades. So to start off with, in 1988, Sega Master System, one of the most popular games and one of the hardcore games, people like to talk about Souls games, Shinobi, released in Japan on the Sega Master System. That might bring some memories back for some people. I remember playing it through emulators as I was coming up. So y'all may have a better experience. How about you, Pong? You remember Shinobi?
Of course I do, man. Absolutely, brother. It was extremely difficult. But right out the gates, you're making me feel old. See how you do this? 33 years ago, bro.
33 years ago, man. Reminiscing. There's good memories there.
Yeah.
All right. As we move forward, in 2007, crazy how we go from 88 to 2007 in this day in gaming. PlayStation 2 released Raw Danger. I'm not familiar with that title, so it is what it is. Then on Wii, they released Resident Evil 4, the Wii edition. I I'm pretty sure I know why they called it the Wii edition.
Motion controls.
Yeah, exactly. On the DS, they released Transformers Autobots. I've always been a fan of the Transformers series as far as video games go. Just being able to transform in between being an actual robot to being in a vehicle, whatever the case might be. I always like that concept. I actually think they should bring that back in the current.
Hasn't been many good ones, but they had one. They had one last gen.
Yeah, they definitely had one
good.
last gen. Yeah, it was amazing.
Good. Yep.
All right. Then as we move forward, 2008, the Wii released Mario Super Sluggers in Japan.
Nice. Baseball game, I'm assuming.
Okay, yeah, I'm assuming.
I think I remember. Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
I'm assuming that sounds like it. I mean, usually when you talk about a slugger, that's what it is. DS released Princess Debut in Japan. I'm not familiar with that one either.
No idea.
All right, and then on the PSP, you got Super Robot Tyson, a portable, and that released in Japan. All right, then we move into a year later, 2009. The Wii released One Piece Unlimited Cruise 1, The Treasure Beneath the Waves. I'm unfamiliar with that title, but again, I'm not a fan of One Piece, so that could probably be why.
One Piece. Thank you.
Hey, I know how delicious you like it. You think One Piece is. In 2010, the DS released Ghost Trick Phantom Detective. There you go. I know some of y'all might like that, be into that. Then in 2011, the 3DS, I actually didn't know that they re-released this. That they released it on this. They released The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time 3D. It's crazy to think about, man. I remember playing Ocarina of Time on the Nintendo 64 and having an amazing time. You know what I mean? Between Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask is still my best two Zelda titles of all times. As we move forward, 2012, you had on the 3DS, DS, PC, PlayStation 3, the PlayStation Vita, the Wii, and the Xbox 360. For those of y'all who love it, Lego Batman 2, DC Superheroes. And again, I'm pretty sure I've said this before. But the Lego series, as far as like when they do Star Wars or they do DC or they do Marvel, they're actually solid games.
Indiana Jones.
They're actually solid games, right?
Like I said, all of them are really solid titles. So honestly, the only one I never got into was Lego City. That was the only one I couldn't really. But all the Lego games, hell yeah, man, they're just a good time to sit down. Especially when my kiddo was younger, man, sitting down with him playing co-op was amazing. It really is a good time for sure.
Hell yeah, facts. I agree. Then as we move forward to 2013 on the Wii U, you had New Super Luigi U. I remember when that released. Wasn't interested in it, but I remember when that released. All right, I had to get a little sip of coffee right there. 2014 on the DS, they released Fashion Tycoon.
Hey. Look, I like the Tycoon games, but
I don't
know about fashion. I don't know about fashion. I don't know about fashion. Give me railroads. Give me all that stuff. Give me, theme parks. Give me all that. But fashion, I don't know, man. I don't know.
Facts. Then on the iOS, iPhone, and iPad, they released Lego Marvel Superheroes Universe in Peril. It's could have been an interesting title. I'm not much of a phone player myself. I still can't get into it, man. Every time that I try out xCloud, this is a specific type of game, other than me not having great connection with it here recently. It's hard to play on the phone, man. When you've been playing on TVs and monitors for so long, it's like bringing it down to the phone, unless you're literally on the go, it's hard to get into, but I can see why people love it. So 2018, PlayStation 4 released The Exorcist Legion VR. That's not a game that I would ever play. Just to let you guys know. You can say that I'm a scaredy cat or whatever the case might be, but I'm not trying to play anything that has The Exorcist or some scary shit in VR. I'm just not about that life. You know what I mean? It is what it is. I'll play Halo in VR. That sounds amazing.
No, me, brother. I'm a coward now, so I never will touch a VR horror.
And again, the reasons, surprisingly, the reasons aren't because I'm a coward. The reasons are more so because I've seen some shit in my life that some may not believe. But that's a whole different conversation. So I'm kind of wary when it comes to the scarier games. But I appreciate everybody that enjoys them. They're here for a reason. Then the PlayStation 4 also released The Lost Child. For those who are familiar with that, I'm unfamiliar with The Lost Child.
That's the Golden Child sequel, I think.
Okay. Interesting.
No, I'm just joking.
It could be. It could be the Golden Girl sequel. Who knows? I mean,
It's starring Eddie Murphy. Yes, that's
excellent. There you go. Yeah. All right, 2019. There's a game that I know you'll love, Get Pong. On PC, they released Monster Girl Island, the prologue.
It's good to me. Monster Girl is a great series. Let's go.
See, I knew you would know something about that. See,
I don't know anything about that. I can assume what it is because I do know the Monster Girls. There is a Monster Girl. But anyways, yes, continue on.
All right. Then in 2020 on Android, they released Tales of Crestoria, and then on PlayStation 4 they released The Last of Us Part 2. That's crazy to think about. That's crazy to think about, right?
Well, there's only one Last of Us.
He said there's only one Last of Us. Hey, to me, I agree with you so far because it's the only one that has a multiplayer that I actually thoroughly enjoy. And I still stay to this day. That Last of Us story, along with that multiplayer, was some of the most greatest gameplay, story, and especially the story-driven side of it was some of the greatest content that I've experienced to this date. Once Last of Us 2 gets that multiplayer, or even if it doesn't, I'll be playing factions when it comes out. So it is what it is.
Yeah. Yep.
But with that being said, that is your This Day in Gaming segment. Again, where we go back.
Old. Thank you. Yes, you did.
Where we go back within the last few decades of gaming and basically bring light to it, bring those memories, invoke those past thoughts that you might have had about these games, past experiences, and overall treat gaming like art as it should be treated. With that being said, Pong, through everything that we had to go through today, man.
Yeah, man.
We still pulled it out. Seemed to be still a solid, excellent, solid show overall. I'm going to be going some places here soon. Well, I'll include that in my outro. But Paul, man, I want you to be able to let the people know how you felt about the show overall, how and where the people can find you if they're searching for you, man.
Yeah, another great show, Steel. Of course, we fought through it, brother. This is what we do, man. Hey, again, going live, this is what you have to deal with. You hope that every show is going to be perfect, and you hope that everything's going to work out from a technology standpoint, but it always doesn't, man. That's just the way things are, unfortunately. But man, we did battle through it. I appreciate you, brother, for sticking it out because I know how frustrating this is for you, and I totally get it. Get it completely where you come from. And I'm just thankful that you do what you do in the background and you get everything back up and running and we can finish off the show. And again, chat for everybody who ever showed up during this stream. If you had to leave because of things that were going on, we totally understand. Appreciate you for showing up. And for everybody that stuck it out or showed up later, man, we love you guys, man. Again, week in, week out, we are consistent. We still want to continue to grow here, but we have a fantastic base of people with us each and every week. That's why we wanted to do this. Steele and I want to get to the top. He constantly says it. I agree with him 100%. We want to take this and make this as big as possible. But again, it isn't about the numbers for us. It's about getting on here each and every week on a Saturday morning and hanging out with other people who enjoy this industry and have as much passion about this industry as we do.
Right.
And that's what it's all about. And that's why we came here to do this. And that's why we're on episode 13 already, which is insane to me. But we are here each and every week as well because we want to be. Again, I get excited. I DM Steel last night before Xbox Ultimate went live and before he went live with K Mega and GRG. And I said, man, I can't wait till tomorrow. Right. I'm already pumped about it. Like as busy as Steel and I get during the week and we don't get the game as much together or talk as much as together. We always know we have Saturday as our time. And that's it. It does get me excited. So again, thank you all for being here and sharing this with us. We love you all. Just nothing but respect for each and every single one of you. So thank you again. You guys can find me Pong Soul everywhere. You know the drill. Xbox, Twitter, again, hit me up.
I'm always about it. Just follow me. I'll follow you back. We could talk. People hit me up in the DMs all the time. I'm always down for it. No matter what. I can't. I don't have as much time as I did last year, but I still have plenty of time and make time for people who hit me up. So thank you so much again for that. Later today, you can find me at 108 Dragons TV. Shout out to Lavin, Six Slayer. PK and the crew over there. I will be over there. Special time today, 6 o'clock Eastern, 5 o'clock Central. So 108 Dragons TV. Great place to be. If you're not already following him, if you're not already subbed to him, go do that too. Awesome dude. You talk about energy and passion. We're all cut from the same mold, and he's a real one. So go check him out. I'll be there today. Tonight, the Shop Podcast, PTK Blam, Centurion, Fuzzy Belvedere, Stagorilla, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 o'clock Central Time. I will be there. So I got a triple header today. And I've done a lot of podcasting this past week, man. It's been crazy fun.
Yeah.
Then next, yeah, it has been like out of the blue stuff too. Like RDX is completely out of the blue. Had no idea I was going to be on there. So just stuff like that happening. It's been a fun week because E3 hype is real. Next Tuesday is going to be a special Xbox Factor podcast, 12 p.m. Eastern, 11 o'clock Central. Mr. Boomstick, you know him. Zemi Games, possibly 3-bit, myself, but we are having a crossover with the Xbox 2, Rand Althor. That's right, the man with a million. And man from Windows Central, Jez Corden, are going to be on the Xbox Factor podcast. Excellent. So we're going to have a great discussion there. You know that already. Those two are the real deal. They bring it every time. They've got the information. They know what they're talking about. It's going to be a fun show. And then back at it next Friday night. With obviously Xbox Ultimate Fun Speculation, aka Mav, his beautiful wife Caitlin, and the rest of the Magnificent Seven, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 o'clock Central. Again, for you guys that don't know, Fridays is 2-Tab Friday. 2-Tab Friday. That's right, because you got to hit up Steel, and he'll talk about it over on GRG, and you got to have the Xbox Ultimate up. You got to be listening to both of us back and forth. It doesn't matter. However you want to do it. It's a 2-Tab Friday, so make sure you're there. But love you all. Thank you so much. Another great show. Episode 13 in the books. Despite all the issues, we got it done. We provided another awesome show. I had a great time. Thank you again, Steele. Thank you again, chat. And again, guess what, guys? Enjoy your weekend. All the fathers out there, like myself, like Steele, happy Father's Day. Enjoy your day. But you know what? Get some gaming in. Play what you love what you play. And we will talk to you again real soon.
That's a fact, man. And with me, look, you can find me Steel Rain everywhere. The T is a 7. Anywhere there's a search bar, type that in. You should be able to find me. Xbox, PlayStation, PC, anywhere, man. Twitter. Look me up. I'm there. Come find me. Hit me in the DMs. Let's have some conversation. Let's talk about gaming overall. If you got any suggestions, man, on how we can make the show better, how we can improve as hosts, or whatever the case might be, just let us know. If you got ideas or things that you want to talk about, let us know. We can talk about it in chat. We don't have to talk about everything that happened throughout the week. We could always throw in a random topic or whatever the case might be. I think that could keep things interesting. But that's completely up to y'all. Look, man, every Friday night, 8 p.m. Central, as Pong said, 2-Tab Fridays. Come catch me on the GRG, where gamers recognize game, with King K Mega and the round table of greats that continuously bring that live, raw, and uncut passion that they do within that show. And then on Saturday mornings, Living Split Screen at 9 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Eastern, and 3 p.m. UK time. Me and Pong will sit here and constantly give you our authentic, organic approaches to everything that is going on within the gaming hemisphere. We are a non-consular-centric platform. We try to talk about everything that's going on within the gaming space. And again, we just want to bring better representation to gamers, bring the energy, again, bring the passion that I feel like is very lacking in the space that we are within. With that being said, I'll also, within the next 10 minutes, be on the Bitcast with Porsche Power himself, aka Ainsley, where we're going to be getting into it, talking more about some E3, getting some exciting things off the dome. And catch me there, get locked in, hit that tab, go ahead and open it up, get in the chats. Let's get live. Other than that, chat, I greatly appreciate you for sticking out to all the issues that we had today, whether it was us going back into the past, you know, or the stream randomly cutting off. It is what it is. Things happen. We're past it. I'm in better lights. And so it is what it is. Pong, another excellent show to be on with you again every Saturday. It's always a blessing to be on here with you, talking about what we talk about. Again, it's the space that allows us to really dive deep into topics that we like to talk about, or whatever the case might be. Because as you see, me and Pong could do some talking. With that being said, hit that like button on your way out, share it out, show it to your grandma, show it to your dad, show it to your girlfriend, or whoever you need to show it to your kids, as you hopefully your kids make you some fantastic breakfast on this fantastic Father's Day this Sunday. And Pong, man, I also want to say happy Father's Day to you. I'll probably end up speaking to you again before then, but man, much love to all the followers out there, man. And again, much love to all the gamers. Like Paul says, play what you love what you play. And like I say, keep it live, raw, and uncut. And other than that, living split screens out, baby. Much love.
Later all.